Hey, well, look, let's get started here, man. So this is this Deacon George Green here today, and wanted to just stop in and talk to my good friend, who's been my friend, like I always say, before we were born.
Yes, sir.
And now my pastor ordained me as a deacon. My friend, my buddy, my golf partner. My accountability partner, helped me through some rough times in my life. He just been there, man. None other than our very own pastor of Victory Christian Center in the big metropolis of Lake Butler, Florida.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Pastor
sir.
Patrick L. Maxwell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, listen, man.
How you doing today? Man?
I feel much better. I think most people know about the situation I had about a week ago. Big shout out to my wife for not bending when I didn't want to go to the hospital, didn't want to get in the ambulance. And between her and Marty, I was just being hard-headed. Between her and Marty Wilson, they made sure I got in the ambulance. Shout out to Marty. But my wife was adamant that I was not going to go to church. I wasn't going to preach. That it was going to be a different kind of Father's Day. And so big shout out to my wife, who loves me dearly, who wanted to make sure I stayed alive, because my blood pressure, it was at stroke and heart attack level. And the hospital was baffled that I hadn't had a heart attack or a stroke, and that I wasn't even having major symptoms, no chest pains, no dizziness, no blurred vision. I wasn't even sweating. And it was just crazy, man. I've been telling people it's kind of like a sermon, and I probably share this in a sermon or in church on Sunday. Like, it's like when a person gets saved and, they're coming to church, they're in the word, they're worshiping, they're praising, they're giving, they're witnessing, and all of the above. And their life turns around, their family gets better, finances gets better, their health, their mind gets better. And then after a while, they think, you know what? I don't need church no more. I can do this on my own. And, people, they forget that it was the church, it was worship, Bible study, and all of the above that helped them to get normal. Or I say normal, but it helped them to get better. And that's kind of how it was with me on the medication. I got to the point where my blood pressure was back at 120/80. And in March, when it was time for me to renew my subscription or prescription, I was like, I don't need this, I'm good. And lo and behold, it went the wrong way. And that's how people are spiritually. And I learned physics.
See, and I'm gonna break in right there, because
go ahead.
And one of the titles I gave you and I talked about is us being accountability partners. And probably just a week before this? That week? 4 days.
Yeah, I thought you had probably talked to my wife or something. I was like, Deep done talked to my wife. Lady done called him and told him to start talking to me about my health. And
nope.
Obviously, that was the Lord, man.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to check on each other. Check on each other, make sure, and we've hit that golden age of 50, and our bodies. Although we look at ourselves and like we still in that 25-year-old body. Our body's like, no, bro, no, that's not it. So man, well, we're definitely grateful and thankful that, first of all, you had a wife who looks out for you and cares for you, and was able to just say, hey, no, you're going to the doctor. We're going to go, get checked out. And then we're just thankful too that they were able to get you straightened out. And that hopefully this is going to make you not be hard-headed, and make sure that prescription is filled a couple weeks before it's about to run out.
Exactly.
In case you run into something,
Yeah, exactly.
So today I wanted to call, and just kind of check in on you and talk about you. You've become something that I know us 14, 15-year-old running around behind spires and going and getting the buggies from Spires that jump off them so
Yeah,
we could dunk on the
right,
basketball goal
right,
at
right.
the park and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if being an author was ever anything that we talked about.
Never was on my radar.
Right.
I never thought about writing, never thought about how to write, had no passion
Mm-hmm.
for it. I actually thought writing was something that I wasn't equipped for. But big shout out to people like Miss Johns, Miss Roberts, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Taylor in high school who made us write in journals. And
Correct.
once I started doing that, it's like a different muscle started developing in my life. And after writing a lot in college and just pastoring, writing sermons 2 or 3 times a week, little did I know that God was developing a muscle that I didn't know I had and didn't never thought that I would use. And so writing has now become really not even just work for me. It's a way of me relaxing. I'm constantly writing. I'm even while I don't have the computer, I'm on my phone in my notes, typing stuff and just putting stuff together. And I'm always thinking about how I can write something to be a blessing to somebody. It's like God gives me a burden for individuals and how I can hopefully write something that will inspire people. And that's been the biggest push for me, is to write things that would be a blessing to people. I remember when I was in college, I remember hearing a quote from Toni Morrison that said, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. And that's kind
That's
of the
right.
way I've kind of been, is
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like there's a certain void or space in the kingdom for things, I try to fill that void in such a way that it'll be a blessing to people, especially in our culture. Many times there's not books that's written specifically for us and things that will inspire us. So I definitely, with my experience in church and my culture, I want to be able to speak to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. I have a question, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask the question, but I'm gonna
yeah,
answer it, and then you can just try to tell me if I'm
yeah.
right, how correct I am. But before I do this, I'm just gonna let you know, as your friend, you dirty man. You sitting there
I know what
on the
you've been saying.
balcony with the
Oh
beach
boy.
in the background. And I'm
Okay.
sitting here in my living room
Okay.
um at the house, and I just seen a nice boat just ride by as you was talking earlier. I kind of lost track because I
Oh,
saw the nice boat ride by. I just want to let you know you real dirty for
well,
sitting out there
well,
flexing on the balcony at the beach.
well, let me first of all say this. We got where we're staying at off the clearance rack. So that's number one. It's super cheap. Everybody know me. I'm a clearance rack type of guy. And this is like our fourth time coming down here, or fifth time coming down here. We've been coming
Okay.
for like the last 5 years. And so they give us 25% off every time we come. And it is not
Okay.
expensive. It is actually kind of like I've shared with you, is like a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, in 5 years, we've been coming. Today was the first time we ever saw a black family. Never
Wow.
saw, we've never seen a black family. So when we saw each other today, it was like we both saw dinosaurs. It was like, oh my gosh, they do exist. And so it's a black family staying here. And so we both were just talking about how this place is a hidden gem. If you ever want to come to one of the just most gracious and best place for a beach setting, it's Sanibel Beach, man. That's where we are. Me and my family was just down here relaxing. It's kind of strategic. God kind of worked it out, because after the blood pressure situation I had, this is kind of
Right.
just perfect. Just kind of just been chilling. But no, not flexing,
Yeah.
bro.
What you
Believe
need?
me. Yeah, I need it.
Hey.
I need it. And those boats behind me, I can't afford to ride on none of them. That's why we just look at them.
They were good. So listen, like I said, I'm gonna talk about you. So my question is, how many books have you read? But I think I might have the right answer. So
Okay.
and I tried to do them in order. I'm not sure, but I
Yeah.
know that there's big ministry in small places.
Yep. Yep.
Then you wrote a fasting for a change.
Right.
Um, then you wrote, and this I know we use this for our church and our new members. Now that you're
Yep.
saved, what next?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and then you wrote, which is one of my favorites, the Red Zone.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, then we got relation tips, you
Yep.
and Lady
Yep.
Max.
Yep.
And then you got together,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is teamwork in marriage. And then, of
Yep.
course, the book that I actually wanted to talk to you about today is the new Man Up book.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
did I miss any?
I think that's all of them. I think yeah, that's all of them. And I each book, somebody asked me the other day, they said, "What's my favorite book?" It's like I told them it's like ask somebody, "What's your favorite child?" Each
Mm-hmm.
one feels like a baby that I had birth. And but yeah, we're on the eighth book. And like I said, I never thought a day in my life I would write one book. And it's just a great opportunity, like I say, to hopefully minister to people. I had a text message from a pastor. I think he was in Minnesota the other day, who had told me that he bought 100 of the Man Up devotions for his men's ministry. He just ran
Okay.
across it on Amazon, and they're going to use it for the rest of the year as a devotional in their church for their men's ministry. So hopefully, man, it'll be a blessing to many men around the world.
Okay. So let's do this. Let me ask you about your first book, right?
Yeah,
And that was Big Ministry in Small
yeah,
Places,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, so I know we kind of talked about what made you want to become an author. You talk about,
Right.
in school and everything like that.
Yeah,
But let's talk about the process.
yeah.
I've never written a book. I hated Gordon Rule classes in college. You
Oh
know what I mean?
gosh, yes, yes,
I wasn't, in all that. But do want to know like the process, the writing, the editing,
yeah,
the publishing.
yeah.
What did you do? How did you do that? How did you, go through that process?
Well, it definitely was a learning process. I didn't know nothing when God had kind of just inspired me to write. Had I had no clue about publishing, had no clue about anything, and so at first, I was at a church conference and ran across a booth where these guys, they can turn your sermons into books, and I reached out to them and asked them for a quote to write my first book. They sent me the quote back, and I was like, I could do this myself, because all
Right.
the stuff that they had, that they offered, I already knew how to do. Whether it was creating the book cover, of course, whether it was creating the content, you name it. So I was like, I could do this myself. It's kind of like the song Lecrae has, "Being broke made me rich." I didn't have enough money to pay for that. So I was like, I'm going to do this myself. I'm too broke to do what this quote is they've given me. And so
Right.
I did the book, I did the cover, the content and everything, but I still didn't know how to publish. I didn't know what route to go. So I just, of course, started Googling and ran across Amazon publishing. And
Okay.
I fell in love with Amazon publishing. It's a very easy, user-friendly process. Basically, once you have your book, your content, your cover, all of that stuff, you're loading it into their system. And a lot of people ask me about that. I'm actually going to be doing a workshop at our library on August the 25th on book writing
Okay.
and talking about the books I've written. So if you're interested in knowing the details, if you're watching this, you want to know the step-by-step details, I'm going to go through all of that. I'm going to show you how to, upload your book, create book covers, also how to monetize your book, how to set your price range, how to get it out into different outlets. So, and I tell you, I'm still learning a lot. Even each book I do, I'm learning different things.
Okay.
It's like an ongoing learning experience, and that I haven't perfected. But yeah, I'm learning all of that stuff, man. But yeah, it's not an easy process when you first start out, but once you get it going, it's not as difficult.
Okay. So, and now you said that you'll be doing that at the library here in Lake Butler,
Yep.
Florida.
Library in Lake Butler, August 25th at 10 o'clock.
August 25th, 10 o'clock. So those of you who all may be aspiring art authors or writing books or anything of that nature, yeah, that's where you could be to get this more information. So now I got to take because I'm interviewing you, but I want to talk about my favorite, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The red zone.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, I love that.
Now, tell me, and then I know this story and I know this inspiration. But tell the people about the inspiration behind this book and how it came about.
Yes, definitely. First off, shout out to Bishop Merton Clark and Truth Revealed down in Palm Bay. The inspiration from Red Zone actually came from their yearly men's retreat that they have. And I was invited to be a speaker. And the theme of their retreat for that year was Red Zone. And so when I was invited to go, I really, at the time, I didn't know what I would speak, didn't know, like most pastors will tell you and speakers will tell you, generally at the beginning, you don't know what you're going to speak, but God kind of just puts it in your spirit as it goes on. So as we get closer to the conference, I started just thinking about the word RED and kind of used it as an acronym, RED, relationships, environment, and devotion. And I started equating that, of course, to red zone, which is in football. And it just went from there and I even started researching the red zone, like even who's the greatest quarterback in the red zone to, statistics in the red zone, all of that, and just started relating that to our spiritual lives, our relationships that we're in, the environment that we're in, and our devotion to God, family, and to our church. And so that was the inspiration for it.
Okay. Yeah. So now, like I say, this is my favorite book. Like you say, relationships, environment, and devotion. And I keep this book, on my desk. I teach up at the high school, and this is usually the first one they pick up. And the young men pick it up because, of course, Red Zone, it's a football book. And then they get in and reading it, and then it gives me a chance to kind of minister to them about, their environments and their relationships. Right. And my favorite part when you talk about environment. And you say in one part, the environment you choose to hang out in will determine if you score or not in red zone. And so as a man, you need an environment that encourages you, strengthens, and that builds you up. Right. Elaborate on that a little bit about that part.
Yeah. The environment that we're in, it means everything. Yeah. And when we're in the right environment, it changes so much. And most men, they just don't understand the power of environment. They don't understand when you're around the right people, when you're in the right circle of friends and things of that nature. It changes everything. It's kind of like a plant, if some plants can't grow in certain environments. Some trees can't grow in certain environments, and it's the same thing with us spiritually. There's just sometimes it's impossible for us to grow, to flourish, and to develop in certain environments. And so, and that's just the God honest truth. There's so many scriptures in the Bible that talks about that. There's so many truths in the Word of God and just in the world that shares with us about the power of environment.
Yeah. And so I think too, like I use this a lot to talk, like I said, to the young man, but also go back and take a little part from you've got a lot of great sermons, and I've got, probably my top 10 of your sermons, but the sermon you do on doors and about, some doors, they take effort.
Right.
And some doors, you've got to be in the right position. The door automatically will open for you, but you've got to be in the right position. Yeah. And usually when I talk to these young men about that, I bring up that part of it because I think everything goes together. And I look at all of your stuff that you write. It does speak to men a lot.
Yeah.
but it's good for everyone, right?
Yeah. I
And
I
I'll
get
just say this,
a lot of recommendations even from women on that book.
right? And I'll say this too. I mean, there may need to be a book about doors, because those of you who have not heard that sermon, um, you definitely need. It's not doors. It's what is the title of
Gosh,
it? I call it.
I even forgot what I titled
I
that.
forget the title of the sermons, but I know that it talks about the
Yeah,
different types of doors you're going to encounter
right,
in your life, and
right,
it just
right.
just just a great book. And then of course too, and then the way that you end this book in chapter 5 is say, now go score. And so it gives
Yeah,
you all
go
this great
score.
it gives you all this great information in here.
Yeah,
And this book, if you don't have it, if this is one of the ones that you don't have by Pastor Maxwell, I would enthusiastically tell you to go get this, right?
yeah, yeah.
This is just a great book. Now,
Appreciate it.
we'll move on from my favorite book. Let's talk about the book that, why I wanted to talk to you today,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Man Up. Um,
yeah,
and a lot of people don't know this, I'm sure, but back in 2010,
yep,
I'm
yep. It
thinking
was, yep,
2000, late
yep,
2009, early
yep,
2010,
yep.
you and I sat down and we talked about doing something in the community,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
talked about having a mentoring type of
Right.
group
Mm-hmm.
that we tried to get together.
Yeah,
Let's talk. I want you to talk a little bit about that. And then
yeah.
also, did that kind of play any
Oh yeah.
role in this book at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of people don't know me and you 15, 16 years ago, we got together and had a conversation about starting a mentoring program in Lake Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Because people have been already, kind of suggesting that to us. Hey, have you thought about starting a mentoring program or group for young men, especially African American men? And so
Mm-hmm.
we was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. We became very passionate about it and still very passionate about it. And so
Absolutely.
we had a meeting, and what a lot of people don't know, it wasn't our willingness to do it. The hard thing was to find qualified men to be a part of it. Because if you're going to have a mentoring program, of course, you want to have, reputable men. You want to have reputable people. You don't just want to just throw anybody out there with the kids and everything. But not just reputable. It was hard to find other men that was willing to
Right.
want to do it. And
Right.
a lot of them just said it was their schedule. They were too busy, just didn't have the time, or just didn't feel qualified to do it. And so, yeah, we tried hard. I still remember the meeting we had up there at the school board,
School board
sitting
meeting.
at
Yeah.
those round tables. I still remember that. And yeah, that was something we were very passionate about. And so it kind of went full circle. And so I started thinking about, hey, men really need devotionals that are relative to them, that can speak to their life. And so I just started working on a devotional. God just started giving me, different devotionals for each day. And then what happened out of that is I remember going to you. I said, hey, man, I feel like God is leading me to start a daily text message devotional. And
Right. I remember
so
that.
I already had a lot of the information because of the book I was working on. And so I just started just each morning at 6 o'clock. For those who don't know, I get up about 4:45. And so by 6 o'clock, I sent out a text message to men. Right now, I think it's like 5. I think I just got 3 more notifications a day, 3 more men join. It's like 566 men, literally around the world. Most of the men I don't even know, never met, never heard from, don't know their name, or don't know even how to pronounce some of their names. And so, yeah, every weekday, 6 o'clock, I try to send out a text. I always say the joke, unless my wife is taking advantage of me about 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll send the text out. So you can interpret that however. But yes, 6 o'clock in the morning, I send out every weekday. I send out a text message to men, and Yeah, I love doing it, man. And every day, about an hour ago too, I get responses and replies from guys saying it's
Mhm.
it's something that blesses. It's not an AI thing. It's not anything that's computer based. I mean, I'm actually sending out the text to all the guys in the group, and I love doing it, man. And it played a vital part in this book. And so what I just really did is I took those text messages that I send out. My goal was to do just 100, but I couldn't narrow it down. So because somebody asked, why is it 101 and not 100?
Yes.
It's no special reason for it. I just couldn't take out one. So I said, you know what? It's going to be 101 days. So
Right.
if you look at it and say, why you didn't just round that down or round it up? I just couldn't take out one. I felt they all were very necessary and needed. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, I think that was one of my questions. I was like, why he didn't just do 100 or
Yeah,
110, 100,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um, and you kind of answered my next question. So I kind of go because I want to know about how many men. You said 560.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Okay.
566 now, I believe.
You, how many different states do you know we're
Oh
touching?
Lord. Oh Lord, that's a good question. I have to go back and look at that. I know from California to even Hawaii, of course, Florida, Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania. I mean, it's
Right.
probably almost every state represented. It's quite a bit.
That's really good. That's really good. You know, any other countries?
It's a number of islands. I know the Bahamas,
Okay.
Virgin Islands.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's somebody. I will have to go back. I think there's somebody in Europe. Um, what specific country in Europe? I will have to check that out. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of guys, man, and I even think there's some women too as well who has
That snuck in there.
that snuck in there because I be seeing some of those names. I'd be like, this is not a man. Uh, but hey, if it's something that's blessing a man, I'm like, go for it. If this is
Right.
gonna help you out, hey, go ahead and use it. Use it on your husband, your boyfriend, your son, your dad, whatever it takes. Use it.
Help them out. So yeah, and I'm looking at the cover of the book. 101 daily devotional for everyday men and for men of courage, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And as I got to read it, I got mine a little bit earlier than y'all did. So
Yeah.
I was able to go in and read. I want to look at this, the introduction, and
Yeah.
it's on page 6, and you
Right.
say in there, this book was not written for perfect men. It
Yeah.
was written for willing men,
Yeah.
men who are honest enough to admit, I don't have it all together. I
Yeah.
don't always get it right. I've
Yeah.
made mistakes. I've tried to do this on my own and it's not working.
Yeah.
And I look at this and all that took me back to the day that I decided to give my life to Christ.
Right. Right.
I'm like, every one of these, I've made mistakes. I've tried to do
Yeah.
this on my own.
Yeah.
I don't always get it right. I don't have it all together, you
Yeah.
know, and this is what, helped me. Um,
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit from the introduction right there. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for perfect men. One of the things I think we realize is that all men are normal till you get to know them. Every man has some type of issue, whether if it's in his family, his finances, some hidden
right,
struggle he has. And
right,
the thing is that a lot of times they look for perfect men, whether to be leaders in their church, whether it be to have friends with, whether, to be a part of their business. And the reality is that there's no perfect man. Jesus was the only perfect man that ever walked the face of this earth. And so, yeah, if you're a man, you're struggling. If you are a man willing to admit, I ain't got it all together, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. Yeah, I believe this devotional is perfect for you. It's scripture based. It is Bible based. Every day there's a verse that goes along with the devotional. It's not just a motivational book, motivational talk book. It is a spiritual book. Now, it's not a book, of course, to replace your own personal Bible study, but I think it's a great vitamin, extra thing to help you and guide you in your walk with Christ. And so I know me personally, supplement. It's a great supplement. I know for me, when I first got saved, what was very helpful for me were devotionals, whether if it was the Sunday school quarterly or whether if it was Our Daily Bread, you name it. And so this is kind of on the same spectrum like that. It's a devotional to help men out. And all of the topics are things men can relate to. And so, yeah, that's it.
So I want to go in real quickly and talk about some of my, keep saying favorites or some of the ones I think that I feel like help me the most and that I use to help other men. If you look at day 31, talks about the danger of isolation.
Yes.
Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, it says, two are better than one. If either falls, one can help the other. Isolation is one of the enemy's greatest strategies against men. When you're alone, you're vulnerable.
Yes.
This one right here is very important. I think you were speaking to that about men. A lot of times with us men, we get prideful and we want to try to go and do this thing on our own and then come back out renewed and refreshed. And it just don't work like that all the time.
It doesn't. Yeah. Many times guys don't understand the importance and the blessing of staying connected, accountability, all of that stuff. Once we isolate ourselves, we get in the danger zone. It's just like in the animal world. Anytime that prey gets out there by himself, that's when the predator starts licking his chops. Because, once you're away from the herd, you are highly vulnerable for the predator to come and take advantage of you. And we've seen it, me and you, we've seen it with so many different men. Once they isolate themselves, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before they stumble, they fall, they have a major setback. And most men, I find, is that even I find too, Deke, is that many men, they want accountability, they want to be in community with other men, but a lot of them, they allow low self-esteem, they allow intimidation. They think, well, I can't connect with this other guy because I think he's perfect or I think he has it all together. So if I share some of my tendencies and temptations and habits and just my struggles with him, he's going to look down on me. And they don't know that that same man has their own struggles, temptations, you name it. We all are dealing with something. And so many men, though, they stay in isolation because of those kind of factors, intimidation, fear. And many of them, they just don't take the initiative to say, hey, bro, man, can you be my accountability brother? Can I holler at you from time to time? Can we talk to each other? I mean, and I know, like sometimes like me and you, we'll call each other up and we ain't even talking about nothing. Like, it could be something as stupid as like, man, what team LeBron gonna be on next week?
Exactly.
What is our Gator coach doing? I'm about to get off this Jaguars bandwagon.
Give him one more year.
I'm gonna give him one more year. If Trevor Lawrence don't figure it out, we gonna get off this bandwagon and go get with the Baltimore Ravens or something. But but reaching out to other brothers is so important. You have to have accountability. You have to have guys in your life that holds you accountable, that's checking on you, that say, hey, just like you did the other week with me about my health. And I already knew where that was going to go. I was like, oh Lord, because I know how committed you are about your health. Like it almost seems like every other day you telling me you got a doctor's appointment. So when you was talking to me about doctor's appointment, I was like, all right, this is a part of accountability, and I know the Lord is going to deal with me in this. And lo and behold, he dealt with me with that 2 or 3 days later, you know. And so, and you know, because my wife was threatening me. She was like, I'm going to call Deacon George. You're not going to church. You getting in this ambulance. And so, but yeah, having people that hold you accountable is such a blessing. We can't be in isolation. And the problem I see, Deep, too, a lot of times is guys, they'll stay in isolation, but then at the same time, they will get upset when people don't check on them. And I say, you can't have it both ways. Like you can't remove yourself from the community or from the herd, then get upset and say, hey, nobody didn't come check on me. When you fail to realize that people were checking on you, people were reaching out to you, people were doing their best. But when you remove yourself from communication, from accountability, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Well, and I always tell people this. If you've got somebody in your life and you feel like you can't go to them and be vulnerable, then maybe you can't put that title of friend on them. I know I have a lot of associates. I mean, I know a lot of people. There's only a few that I call friends.
Yes.
And you know, guys, just like you say, they isolate, then they get upset. Because I don't know if they wanted you to go above and beyond or whatever to reach out to them. But no, you know, that is really good. I really like that one. And I do want to talk about one more.
Let's talk
about this. And I talk about this one because I don't know how you do it, because making your time count. I mean,
what was that, like a number 100 or something like that?
That's day 100. Yep.
Yeah.
Day 100. Yep. And it's make your time count. Colossians 4 and 5. Use your time in the best way you can. It says time is your most valuable, non-renewable resource. You can earn more money, but you cannot create more time. A man who wastes time is slowly wasting life. This is why wise men become intentional about where their hours go. Time spent with God, with family, in service, in growth, and in purpose is never wasted. You know, I know I wake up to texts from you starting at about 5 o'clock, sometimes 4 something. And then, you know, I get, you know, we got our Nike apps are linked. And so I see when you've done your run. Sometimes I send you mine with 0 miles on it. Sometimes just to let you know I'm being consistent. I'm being consistent, you know, with mine. But and then I look and I'm like, okay, well, he's preaching. He's the pastor. He's got children. He's writing books. Has a lawn service. I'm like, when does he have time for everything? Then you're taking you coach golf, head coach of the golf team, taking your son to golf lessons, taking your daughter to all her endeavors, spending time with your wife,
being a husband,
making sure that Patrick has got stuff going on with college and getting to work and all these things. This one right here, I mean, you can definitely speak to this one, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, my motto, there's a verse in the Bible that says, you know, work while it's day, for when night cometh, no man can work. So, you know, what I try to do is maximize my time as much as I can. You know, there's another verse that says, redeem the time, for the days are evil. You know, and a lot of it has to come with just being as organized as possible. A big shout out to some of our teachers who taught us the importance of organization. Back in the days, I remember the day planners that they would encourage us to write out our schedules and all of those different things. And that was developing a muscle in me that I didn't know, you know, would be developed. So now that we're more in a digital world, I am constantly, you know, trying to organize my days out, you know, sometimes to the detriment of my family, because sometimes we'll go on vacation and I'll text them the schedule for the week. And they'd be like, ain't no way in the world we could do all that, because some of the people in my family, their idea of a vacation is much different from mine. Like, I think you're like me, Dee. Like, when I go on vacation, I'm trying to do everything I can in them 3 or 4 days. Some people, they're like, hey, I just want to lay down for 3 or 4 days. I'd be like, we ain't paid this money to just come lay down. We could do that in the house.
Right.
But yeah, I'm always trying to schedule things out. I'm always on my iCalendar. I'm always trying to plan as much as possible. Shout out to people like Dean Castles, who taught us the importance of time, the importance of scheduling.
If you're on time, you're late.
If you're on time, you late. You are late. And so I try to maximize my time as much as possible. And me and my wife were talking the other day is what I try to do is compartmentalize and, each part of my life in a certain area. Now, of course, my spiritual life affects all of it. But for instance, like I coach golf, that's in one box. I teach at the school, that's in one box. Of course, I pastor and lead the church and do ministry and praise and worship. That's in another box. I write books. That's in another box. The landscaping business my son has, that's in one box. And the other things that I do, they're all in separate boxes. Now, of course, God impacts and affects all of those different boxes, but I try to make sure that, for instance, like my golf coaching life doesn't negatively impact my home, or I try to make sure that if there's a crazy situation at school, I try to make sure that doesn't negatively impact my preaching, you name it. And so maximizing my time in all of those different areas, I think, like me, I hate wasted days. Like if it's a day go by and I didn't get nothing done, like if it's nothing but I picked up the sticks in the yard or I cut the branches on the trees, I hate looking back about 9 o'clock at night when I'm going to sleep and saying, you know what, I didn't get nothing done today.
Right.
And so, I try to maximize my time as much as possible. And for the kingdom, I try to make sure that I get as much done for God as I can. Because it's going to come a time where I'm no longer going to be able to write. I'm no longer going to be able to preach. I'm no longer going to be able to play the piano. I'm no longer going to be able to visit people. So I try to work while it's day and get as much done as I can. I hate procrastination. I believe procrastination is one of the worst things that we can do in our lives. And so I try to get stuff done, man, as much as I can. And, I don't spend a lot of time playing video games. That's not casting any aspersions on anybody that does, but I'm not that kind of person who can sit on a video game for 3 or 4 days or just do nothing and sit around or sit up under a tree for 3 or 4 days. I just like to get stuff done. And I think that comes from the older generation I was around, people like your dad, who I always saw work. I remember seeing your dad come in with those BDUs on and, and he had them rolled up, showing his muscles and everything. And I was like, this is a hard worker. Like,
right.
And then that same dad, we would get in the back of his truck and go to Pop Warner football games, and he was one of those individuals who I saw working hard and working all the time and maximizing his time so that now he is able to enjoy the fruits of his labor in his 70s of the things he did from the 20s to his 50s.
That's correct. Yeah.
So
he lives pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
You talked about that, and I like that. And here's something else I really, really like about this book, and I know you did this by design. Those of you all who don't have this book yet, what you'll find is you'll get the daily, devotion, but at the end, you'll get reflection questions.
Yes.
And for this particular day 100, it says, how am I currently spending the majority of my time? So these are some things for you to ask yourself and self-reflect on. The second question is, what distractions are stealing time from what matters most? And I was able to ask myself this. I'm like, dang, I could do this and I don't have to
Yeah.
do that and this,
Yeah.
you know. And then what would it look like to live more intentionally each day? And I'm like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
So this is really good, man. I love this. I love the outline of it.
Yeah.
I love that it's a reference book. Like I tell
Yeah.
some people, there's books that are reference books, and there's books that are a read. This
Yeah.
is the book that I can grab and quickly reference someone. Hey, day 100. Hey, day 73. Hey,
Yeah.
day 72, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, are there any of these that I'm not going to say are your favorite, but are any of
Mhm.
these that you feel like you refer people to more than others?
Yeah, probably day 87. Stay alert, where it says in First Peter, stay alert, watch out for your great enemy, the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's one of my favorite verses in the Bible where it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary goes about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Um, and I just the first sentence in that devotional is in day 87 is the enemy does not take days off. And
Mm-hmm.
he looks for openings, weaknesses, distractions, and compromises. So, like for instance, even though I'm on vacation, and we all know when we all go on vacation, it's still temptation. It's still the enemy is still lurking. The
Right.
enemy does not take a day off. There's like he doesn't take off Sundays. He doesn't take off on weekends. He is working 24/7, and so we have
Mm-hmm.
to stay alert. But not only stay alert, we have to even know our own temptations. And once we find out what they are, do our best to stay away from them, draw the line and stay away from the line. And yeah, that's probably one of my favorite. It's kind of too like that question, what's your favorite kid? Because I mean, just about all of them are things I think is some that I think they're all helpful.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I think we did a really good job of like talking about the book and talking about you and the process of you getting
Yeah.
into writing and writing these books. You
Yeah, and I
know,
want and I want to say again, if you're watching this, if you're local, August 25th,
that's what I
come
was
there
gonna
to the library. It's in the morning. It'll be a blessing to you, I believe. I'm going to share some things, like I say, some things I've learned about book writing. It's a free workshop. I have my books available for sale at that time too, as well. I love to take pictures with you and sign those books for anybody that comes. Big shout out to Pretty for the invitation for being a part of that. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to that too as well.
Now, so let me ask you this. I
Yeah,
know you're busy working. It's the summertime, but
yeah,
when can we expect the next book? And do you have an idea on your next book yet?
yes. October 4th. I'll be releasing my next book. It is called Anchored, and basically the book is a book for students who are either going into college, who are in college, or even parents who have kids who are going to college. And it will help them to keep their faith while they're in college. One of my inspirations for this book is because again, there's not much material out there for college students on how to have a good, solid, healthy relationship with the Lord while they're in college. I mean, because the reality is that there's so many different temptations in college, and I wrote it even kind of with my own kids in mind. My son Patrick, he just finished his first year of college, and then Princess is getting ready to go to college. And so they're both are going to be in environments, and so it's kind of even written from a perspective of a dad, how to give spiritual advice to your kids on how
Right.
to have a good, strong, vibrant relationship with the Lord. Because when I was in college, I had no kind of material like that. I mean, made a lot of mistakes, really didn't have no guidance whatsoever. There was no book like that was out. So I said, you know what, again, like what I said about Toni Morrison, I wanted to write something that wasn't out there that I felt like God had gave me a burden for. So yeah, August 4th, again, if you got kids in college, going to college, or you got kids eventually will go to college, I think it will be a blessing for you. It's actually a book I've been working on for decades since I was in FAMU. You know, I've been jotting down stuff here and there about it, and it basically has 15 principles on how students can keep a good relationship with the Lord while they're in college.
Very good. Very good. August 4th.
October 4th. October 4th.
October 4th. October 4th.
Yep. 3 days after my birthday.
Well, listen, you know, I've listed all of his books here, but these two, I would definitely say,
yes,
go get them. Get these two. Think they'll bless your life. Man, it's been good talking to you. You know, I bet you I've seen 8 boats go by since we've been talking. So
I'm sorry, man. I'm again. This is no place. I'm not Drake. I'm not Pusha T. I'm not Jay-Z. I'm just a broke pastor that's here on a discount. Believe me. And this is one of the hidden gems we just found years ago. But these boats are nice. Like, we've been just for the last few days just looking at these boats as they pass by, saying, "My God, what does these people do?" Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it, man. Soak it up. Any final word before we log off? Anything you want to say to the people?
Listen, I just want to encourage, especially men, don't feel like you have to be a perfect man to serve the Lord. All of us have warts. All of us have issues. All of us have things we're dealing with. God just wants us to become better as we serve him. And as we serve him, he helps us to get closer to him, and our desires change and our passions change. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, things like these resources that we have shared in this podcast are things that will help you in your relationship with God. Don't feel like, hey, I can't get connected to a church because I still got a lot of stuff to get together. I'm still trying to figure things out. No, that's why we get connected to a community, because God gives us people to help us to figure things out. He gives us a pastor. He gives us leaders. He gives us people in the body of Christ that helps us. You ain't got to be perfect, brother. You ain't got to have it all together. You ain't got to be the perfect husband, the perfect father. Just start at step 1, man. On the journey of 1,000 miles, start with the first step. And I encourage you, man, if you've been thinking about getting connected to a church, getting connected to the body of Christ, do it, man. And most importantly, if you're watching this and you've been thinking about giving your life to the Lord, don't wait until don't think, oh, I got to get it all together before I give my life to the Lord. Listen, my motto is always this: you never take a clean car to the car wash. I don't know about y'all. Most times I don't take my truck to the car wash until it's muddy, nasty, and then I go get it washed. It's the same way when you walk with Christ. You're muddy, you're dirty, you got some stuff going on. I guarantee you that God can wash it all off. I guarantee his blood can clean you up. So don't put it off, fellas. Get it done today, because tomorrow's not promised, man. Believe me, I know.
Man, listen, I sure do appreciate you taking time out to talk to me today. Been wanting to talk to you about this book for a little while and all of your books. And listen, those of you who are listening, don't forget the dates that he mentioned.
Yes.
You know, at the Lake Butler Library, Public Library.
August 25th.
August 25th for that. And then look for the new book, August 4th, Anchored.
Yep, October 4th. October 4th. But I'm probably going to have it for sale at the library workshop. I'm probably going to have it for sale then if it's printed up in time enough.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, listen, man, thank you again. Go enjoy your vacation. I know you probably got a boat. You just didn't want us to know about it, but go get on your boat.
I promise you, I have no boat. I can't even afford a canoe, man. Don't even try that.
All right. Well, good talking to you, man. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Hey, man, and get relaxed. Get some rest.
Appreciate it.
All right.
We'll holler. Peace out.
We out.